at 7:48, do you find yourself ditching Google for AI searches? I was just talking with somebody about this exact topic. Chase Wilsey, VP of Wilsey Asset Management, explains how this could be impacting businesses. Good morning, and thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Is this an uh-oh moment?
You know, I don't know if it's an uh-oh moment just yet, but things are definitely changing, to say the least. And I mean, we've had this kind of progression for the last couple of years now, and it seems like it's still continuing to gain steam. I mean, you look at ChatGPT, they had in March over 500 million weekly users. That was up like 70% from just December when it was like 300 million. So again, people are using it more. I hear people talk about it more. It's definitely becoming, I think, more common.
How are AI searches different than when you go to like Google and you look something up?
Well, I really think the big difference is when you use like a ChatGPT or an XAI or, you know, Grok is their bot that they use. The difference is you get your answer kind of streamlined, right? You type in a question and you almost get an answer.
Right.
When you used to Google something, the big difference was you would get a bunch of hyperlinks that you would click on, and then you'd kind of have to do continued research.
Yes.
Where now that AI, it kind of culminates all that data into one streamlined answer for you, rather than you having to continue to dig and look for that answer.
Which will affect businesses how?
The big thing is advertising. When you think about Googling before, they had like, you know, kind of recommended hyperlinks at the top. So when somebody would pay to have those clicks.
Oh, they were paid to go up there.
Search.
Okay.
So you would be at the top, you'd Google like, oh, best places in Hawaii. Well, you could have like 3 ads at the top and then other content down below. Well, now if you do best places in Hawaii to visit, there's no paid advertising. It's just going to give you a list in the AI. Correct.
Will that change?
That's a great question. I mean, we'll have to see. I know ChatGPT, they currently have a subscription model where I think they pay like 20 bucks a month for some more accessible content and so forth. I don't know if they're going to go the route of advertising or they're going to go the route of subscription based. I don't know how they would factor the advertising into it though. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how that changes.
I feel like with AI, there are still a lot of I don't knows, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what this is going to look like. We can guess, we can wonder and think. When you use AI for these searches, and I've thought about this sometimes when I've had conversations with AI, which are not many.
Yeah.
Is it dangerous? What is really that conversation about?
You know, I don't use it for a conversational standpoint. Sometimes I'll use it for research. So if I'm looking at, you know, a particular stock, I'll ask it like, okay, well, where do most of the sales come from? Okay, interesting. Now, what products are sold in those regions? So you can kind of have this back and forth conversation. It's really interesting. But you do have to be careful because not all content right now is, I'm going to say, completely accurate. So you have to take what you get with a grain of salt. I'd say I had a pretty good use case with it so far, but I have noticed there has been some errors, so you almost have to kind of double check your work at times.
Conversations happening all across the board that if any business is not really getting into the AI world, they're going to fall behind just very, very quickly. So if there are businesses to be investing in right now, because I know you're in the whole world of investment, is that a dangerous thing to do, a wise thing to do?
Well, I kind of look at it from 2 angles. I mean, there are companies that are being hurt by this. And I'm going to say, obviously, Google, they have an AI play, but they're also, again, losing some of that search revenue. I think is going to be a big problem for them as we move forward. Apple, they actually get about $20 billion a year for being the default search engine or having Google be the default search engine. That could be lost revenue for Apple if it's no longer profitable. And actually, Apple had an executive on that said, yeah, we're seeing a decline in Google searches. Well, that's a big problem. You have companies that they get a lot of their web traffic, like TripAdvisor, for example. 58% of their search comes from Google search. So that's a big issue for their website traffic. Businesses using it, I think you're going to see companies use it for efficiency.
Right.
Like, you know, I look at a Federal Express. They can make that business more efficient by utilizing an AI bot in that kind of platform. So there's going to be a lot of changes here. It's still very early on. I'd be very careful chasing the hype because there's so many players in it right now.
So much for us to continue to learn. Chase Wilsey, always appreciate you being here. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for having me.